Welcome in, everybody. Ready to do a deep dive with us into the world of Simon and Garfunkel?
You think you know them?
Well, let's see if we can find something new together.
Let's see.
We've got a lot of great biographical information to pull from, so
Okay.
we'll really try to get a nice comprehensive picture of them.
Absolutely.
I think we should start right at the beginning
Okay.
with that shared love for doo-wop.
Yeah.
I mean, that and the Everly Brothers really sparked something
Well, for sure.
that ignited their whole musical journey.
Mm.
How did that foundation in those close harmonies, how did that impact their unique sound, and how does that resonate through the generations that came after them?
Well, their exposure to doo-wop and groups like the Everly Brothers early on instilled a deep appreciation for vocal harmonies, and that became a key element of their sound. Those close harmonies, that blend of their voices became like a signature, a hallmark.
Yeah.
And, they influenced tons of artists after them.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. I mean, they got a record deal while they were still teenagers.
I know.
And they even appeared on American Bandstand.
Oh, wow.
But back then, they were performing as, get this, Tom and Jerry. What was the music industry even like back then?
That was wild.
I mean, could you even imagine?
So the late 50s and early 60s,
Yeah.
music was changing, right? Rock and roll was exploding.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all that, Simon and Garfunkel, even as Tom and Jerry at that point, they captured attention. Imagine the pressure and the excitement of all that being so young.
Yeah.
It definitely shaped them. It was the foundation of their success.
Well, they ended up separating for a while, right? Pursuing solo projects. And then we have Paul Simon over in Denmark, and he discovers that The Sound of Silence had been re-released. And it was climbing the charts. What happened there?
So the story takes a turn here.
Yeah.
The producer, Tom Wilson, he heard something in that song. He saw the potential. So he decides to add electric instruments to that original acoustic track.
Oh, wow.
Bringing it more in line with that folk rock sound that was getting huge. Then, the Byrds.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, Simon had no idea this happened at first.
No way.
It completely changed everything.
Oh, I bet.
Wilson's decision sent The Sound of Silence to the top.
Wow.
And suddenly, Simon and Garfunkel were superstars. And that shift, it changed their next album too, Sounds of Silence, appropriately titled.
So with all that success,
Yeah.
they got more control.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Over their music. And you can really hear that on Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme.
Oh, absolutely.
That album is just so meticulously crafted.
Yeah.
Simon's lyrics are so full of detail and wordplay, and there's that social commentary. I mean, even direct references to Bob Dylan.
It's all there.
It's like a tapestry. Give me an example.
A simple, desultory Philippic.
That song just drips with wordplay.
And Simon's take on society. And then you have, Scarborough Fair Canticle, haunting and beautiful traditional English folk song blended with Simon's poetry.
I mean, it's incredible how they brought all those things together.
Truly.
And we can't talk about them without talking about The Graduate.
We can't.
Their music is so essential to that film.
It is. It became the soundtrack to a whole generation's feelings about, youth and disillusionment.
And Mrs. Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, written while they were making the film.
Right.
It's a classic.
It captured the film's essence perfectly and became an anthem, really.
It's quite the journey, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, you go from this re-released song to composing music for a film that defines a generation.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What do you think our listeners should really focus on? What stands out to you in this part of their story?
I think it's the external forces, how those shaped their success. Some were deliberate, some were accidental, but they were crucial. Like, what if Tom Wilson hadn't added electric instruments to The Sound of Silence?
Yeah.
And think about Mike Nichols's vision for The Graduate. Those moments show you how artistic vision, collaboration, and even just the culture at the time all work together to create a legacy. And their music, it really evolved with them, bookends, their next album. It was different. It had this exploration of aging, loneliness, and time passing.
You can really hear the change. Like Old Friends.
Yeah.
The lyrics are so powerful. There's that line. Which one? Can you imagine us years from today sharing a park bench quietly?
Oh, yeah.
So nostalgic. It's almost like they're looking back on their journey together.
Reflecting on it.
There's this duality in bookends.
There is.
You have the personal introspective side, but then the commercially successful hits.
Right.
So were they struggling with those two different paths?
It's possible.
One towards introspection and one towards, the demands of success.
Exactly.
Was that a sign of things to come?
Maybe.
Of their breakup?
It definitely shows the struggle a lot of artists have, that tension between, staying true to yourself and what the market wants.
And for them, that tension was even bigger, right?
I think so.
Because of who they were, their ambition,
their personalities.
Their last studio album, Bridge Over Troubled Water, came out during a time when they were really clashing creatively and personally.
It's kind of ironic.
It is.
Because it was hugely successful.
Yeah, 6 Grammys.
But, the title track, Bridge Over Troubled Water, it's full of irony.
How so?
Well, it's a song about offering support and comfort.
Right.
But they were struggling to bridge their own differences at the time.
Yeah.
It's so complex, their relationship, creating beauty out of all that turmoil.
It's amazing what they were able to do, channeling those challenges into such powerful music.
Absolutely.
But in 1970, they disbanded.
They did. It was a lot of things, honestly. Creative differences, sure.
Yeah.
But also personal clashes, the pressure of fame.
Right.
All that magnifies things, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Garfunkel started acting.
Oh, yeah.
While filming Catch-22.
Right.
And that caused some friction, It showed they both wanted to explore things outside of their partnership.
But they did reunite, right?
I did.
Several times.
A few times, yeah.
It was like those glimpses of magic that made them so special.
Yeah.
And that 1981 concert in Central Park.
Oh, yeah.
500,000 people. That shows their appeal.
Oh, definitely.
It's timeless, isn't it?
It is.
What do you think it is about their music that resonates with so many people, even today?
It's their ability to capture, to really get at those universal human experiences.
Like what?
Love and loss and longing, the passage of time.
Yeah.
Those things connect with everyone. No matter who you are or where you come from.
Absolutely.
Their music it speaks to something deep inside us,
Yeah.
Something timeless.
Their legacy isn't just the music either.
No.
I mean, they were cultural icons.
Oh, yeah.
Influencing,
fashion, film, even social movements.
They were a symbol of that 60s counterculture.
Right.
Their music often reflected the anxieties and hopes of a generation dealing with social change and political upheaval.
Yeah, their music was like a soundtrack.
It was.
For people trying to figure out those crazy times.
Absolutely.
Songs like, The Sound of Silence and Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh, yeah.
They offered comfort, a way to reflect, and even hope in the middle of all that change and uncertainty.
It's that ability to get to the heart of things,
Yeah.
To put those anxieties and yearnings into words. That's why it still resonates with people today. Think about it.
Yeah.
Those songs still speak to us, even now. It's like a timeless reflection on what it means to be human.
It is amazing how they captured those feelings, the universal feelings, and to think they did all of that while their relationship was so complex and difficult.
Yeah, that's what makes their story so interesting.
It does. It really shows that paradox.
Not a paradox.
Yeah, of their creative partnership. I mean, their best work often came from times of conflict and friction.
It's like their struggles fed their creativity. It pushed them to explore those deeper emotions.
So that tension, was it essential, do you think?
That's a good question.
Did it make them dig deeper?
Maybe.
Challenge each other and create more powerful music because of it?
It's definitely possible. That creative tension, it can spark innovation.
Yeah.
Push you out of your comfort zone.
Right. Force you to deal with tough emotions. Explore new ideas.
Yeah.
And for Simon and Garfunkel, maybe that tension, that push and pull was what made them brilliant.
But it also led to their breakup.
It did.
When you look back at their whole journey from, those early doo-wop days to that last album, what stands out to you? What defines their story?
I think it's how their personal lives are intertwined with their music.
Yeah.
Their music wasn't created in some, bubble. It came from their experiences, their relationships, their ups and downs, their struggles. It reminds us that great art often comes from a messy process.
Definitely.
From the complexity of being human. And that's at the heart of their legacy.
That's a great point. Behind the music, behind the fame, there were two people, just like us.
Right.
Dealing with, those everyday human experiences, and they were willing to explore those experiences, to share their souls through their music.
Yeah.
And that's how they connected with people.
That's how they connected, yeah.
So deeply.
I think our listeners should go beyond the hits,
Yeah.
Dig into those albums, explore the lyrics, the stories behind them, discover how it speaks to them, their own lives and emotions. There's so much there to discover.
There is. There's a richness and depth that keeps unfolding.
Every time you listen.
Well, that's a great place to end, I think.
It is.
We've gone from those humble beginnings to superstardom.
Yeah.
We've looked at how they created their music.
We have.
And we've explored that complex relationship.
Absolutely.
That was so important to their art. But this is just the start, really.
It is.
Now it's your turn to do a deep dive.
Your turn.
Into the world of Simon and Garfunkel.
That's right.
Explore their music.
The stories behind it.
Yeah, connect with those stories and discover that magic that has touched so many generations.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
Keep exploring.
Keep listening.
And keep discovering.
Darkness, my old friend, how come you talk with you?